I didn't find out I was excluded because someone told me. I found out because an email landed in my inbox that was never meant to. It came on a Tuesday afternoon, buried between calendar reminders and vendor updates. The subject line tried too hard to sound cheerful, almost desperate in its warmth. Whitmore Family Coastal Retreat 2025, RSVP by Friday. Before I even opened it, I knew. I clicked anyway. The message unfolded into a collage of smiling faces and sunlit memories, everyone I shared blood with, arranged neatly like proof of belonging. Camille stood front and center, of course, arm wrapped around her husband, children frozen mid-laugh. Aunt Janine had flown in from Savannah. Uncle Roger posed proudly in that same awful fishing hat he wears in every photo. Even Cousin Lily was there, the one who once borrowed my prom dress and swore straight-faced she had no idea what I was talking about. Everyone was included. Except me. Not even a misspelled version of my name. No accidental CC. No afterthought apology. Just an empty space where I should have been, like I'd never existed at all. That kind of exclusion doesn't explode. Settles in. It hums quietly, like an appliance you stop noticing, until one day the silence reminds you something essential is missing. I sat in my Santa Monica office, surrounded by glass walls, deadlines, and credentials I'd fought years to earn. The Pacific light poured in like it always did, warm and blinding, but the room felt hollow in a way sunlight couldn't touch. I stared at the email again. Then I opened a new tab. I typed in the address of the beach house. The house. Whitewashed wood. Crooked porch swing. Strings of lights that glowed gold at dusk. The place where our family retreated every summer. Where time slowed just enough to pretend we were whole. It was the last place I heard my father laugh freely, before the stroke changed everything. The page loaded. For sale. Not for rent. Not family use. Not even off-market. For sale. No group text. No warning call. No quiet courtesy of a heads-up. Just a listing, price reduced, seller motivated, deed under administrative review. I recognized the agent immediately. She'd handled my grandmother's property years earlier. And in that moment the air shifted. They weren't just moving on without me. They were erasing the evidence that I'd ever belonged. I should have felt angry. I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I closed the browser and turned toward the bookshelf behind my desk. Nestled between awards and binders sat a small turquoise shell. Smooth, faded, familiar. My father had given it to me when I was 9, brushing sand from its edges like it was something fragile. You think in tides, Clara, he'd told me. Not waves. Don't let anyone make you smaller than the shore. That was when the idea took shape. If they could erase my name from invitations, they'd underestimated one thing. I still remembered how to sign. You don't notice you're being written out at first. It happens quietly. A missed call here. A photo posted without you there. A chair left empty at a table where no one asks why. At the beginning I tried. I mailed holiday gifts. I stayed in the family group chat while my name was still on it. I flew in for Thanksgiving even when the ticket cost more than my rent. I offered help with Mom's mortgage when Camille's kids needed orthodontics. I played my role. Show up. Stay agreeable. Be useful. But usefulness has an expiration date. Camille had always owned the spotlight. She was loud in a way people found charming, photogenic in a way that made her seem indispensable. She hosted showers, themed reunions, matching t-shirts, once calling me from a craft store to ask whether teal or coral looked better for the beach house tables. I don't think I'm coming this year, I'd said. That's fine, she replied brightly. We'll save you a plate. They never did. After Dad's stroke, I was the one who flew in alone. I sat beside his hospital bed while Camille was too overwhelmed, and Mom couldn't bear to see him diminished. I fed him. Read aloud from his old novels. When his voice finally returned, fragile and cracked, he whispered, "You came back." Later, I asked Mom about estate planning. Not money, just clarity. The house. The trust. The future. She smiled tightly. Camille and I have it handled. Don't worry about it. So I stopped asking. The last time I tried to visit the beach house, the spare key was gone. Camille said they'd changed the locks after a break-in. I never heard about any break-in. I stopped traveling home. I sent cards that went unanswered. I let them call me busy or distant on social media without correcting the story. Then one year Mom posted an old photo, Camille and Dad sitting on the beach at sunset. I remembered that moment. I took that photo. I was standing just out of frame. She cropped me out. That was the year I stopped sending gifts. But I didn't stop paying attention. An old neighbor, Savannah, now a paralegal, kept me quietly looped in. Screenshots, emails, conversations I'd been removed from. They think you disappeared, she once said. But you're just listening. And she was right. I wasn't gone. I was waiting. And sometimes the people who erase you first are the ones most afraid of what happens when you return. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this story so far, give it a like. It really helps the channel. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Because this was only the beginning. I didn't rush into buying the house. I waited. I watched. I mapped every loophole and gap like a strategist in a game only I knew existed. The listing had been live for nearly 2 weeks. No press releases. No family group texts. Just a quiet, buried link in a real estate newsletter that someone else might have deleted without a second thought. The Whitmore name was gone. An LLC owned it now, clean, sterile, professional. Camille's handiwork. She wanted to make it look like the house was just another property, stripped of memory, stripped of me. But I knew that language. I understood what it meant when things are moved into a shell structure. I didn't feel anger. I felt certainty. Savannah helped me run a title search. 10 minutes. That's all it took to find the hidden back door. A clause in Dad's original trust that named me as the secondary beneficiary. If the estate ever fell into delinquency, missed taxes, lapsed insurance, paperwork errors, I had the right to claim the title. They'd assumed I'd never notice. They had assumed I'd fade away quietly. But Dad had thought of me even if they hadn't. Savannah's voice on the line was calm, precise. If you want it, Clara, it's yours. No fight necessary. I didn't answer. I just stared at the turquoise shell on my desk. It was intact, smooth beneath my fingers, a relic from the day he handed it to me on the sand and said, "You come back stronger." I wasn't wealthy the way Camille made it look online. But I had built stability. A few solid investments, stock options, savings tucked away for moments like this. I created a spreadsheet, ran the numbers, calculated logistics. 2 days later, I called the listing agent. "My name is Whitmore," I said. "Clara, daughter of Thomas." Her pause was long enough to feel deliberate. Then, "Oh, you're the other one." "Exactly. No drama. No press." I signed under the fallback clause. Then I reserved the master suite. 3 nights. Guest name Miss C. Whitmore. Preferences: firm pillows, cotton sheets, full privacy. Champagne on ice. Everything methodical, deliberate, quiet. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I just sat still. They had erased me from the invitation. I had just added myself to the deed. The night before they arrived, I drove past the house in a rented sedan. 2 streets over. Shadows stretched long. I watched Camille's white Audi pull into the driveway. Her husband got out first, fussing with luggage. 2 kids tumbled behind them, squabbling already. Camille stepped out last, sunglasses perched like a shield. Mom arrived in Uncle Roger's SUV, linen white, pearls at the throat, posture perfect. They moved toward the front steps, laughing and smiling in unison, unaware. At precisely 6:42 p.m. it happened. The clerk at reception, a young woman with a gentle smile, looked up at them and said the words that shifted everything. "I'm sorry. I don't have any of your names listed on the reservation. Are you with Miss Clara Whitmore's party?" Camille froze, blinked. Her jaw tightened. "Whose party?" "Miss Clara Whitmore," the clerk said calmly. "She has the full reservation." Silence fell. Not awkward silence, but the kind that rearranges the room, pulls at bones you didn't know were holding tension. I stepped out of the car. Heels clicking. Calm, measured. Not for show. Just because it was time. "I can clarify," I said to the clerk. "I'm Miss Whitmore. The deed finalized 2 weeks ago." Camille's face tightened, then paled. Mom looked confused, almost trembling. "You bought the house?" Camille asked, voice sharp but controlled. "Yes," I replied evenly. "Because I was never invited. But I was never gone." Camille's lips pressed into a thin line. "You think this is funny?" "No," I said. "It settles something." I handed my ID to the clerk. Anyone not on my guest list should be politely escorted. Then softer. But don't be harsh. They're family. Behind me, silence. Camille. Mom. Uncle Roger. No words. They had no choice but to process it. Later I watched the news. A white van, blue lettering, a reporter with too much gel on his hair, trying to break a scandal that didn't need embellishment. My phone lit up. Texts, emails, old coworkers asking if it was true. Headline. Daughter uses trust clause to oust family from generational property. I didn't respond. I didn't type. I just called Savannah. Send the files, I said. Minutes later she did. Screenshots, audio clips, emails I'd been erased from. Conversations that proved intent. Words Camille and Mom had said. Words meant to keep me away, to make me feel small, invisible. Most important. A video from 2 summers ago. My father seated on the porch, legs wrapped in a blanket, holding a chipped mug. I sat just out of frame. His voice steady. I want Clara to have this place, he said. Camille makes things loud. Clara makes things last. She's the only one who came after the fall. I saved it for moments like this. I uploaded everything to a secure drive, sent the link to one journalist I trusted. No captions. No spin. Just facts. By afternoon, the headline was quietly corrected. The frenzy slowed. Savannah texted 3 words. They're quiet. Ready. I looked out at the ocean. Black, endless under the moonlight. Yes, I whispered. Comment below, what would you have done if you discovered your family had erased you completely? And if this story is keeping you on the edge, smash that like button, it really helps the channel. I arrived at the courthouse early. No entourage. No expensive lawyer. Just me, a navy dress my grandmother once called steel-willed blue, and a folder tucked under my arm, the folder holding everything they thought they'd buried. Camille was already there, pristine in white pants and a blazer, lips pressed flat like she was trying to keep her words from escaping. Mom sat beside her, pearls trembling against linen, glancing at me only once before looking away. The clerk called the case. Whitmore versus Whitmore, petition for injunction on disputed property. Their attorney stood, young and confident, words polished. Intent, vulnerability, caution, he said. He paused. Let the word arranged linger. I didn't flinch. I didn't shift. When it was my turn, I stood slowly. No theatrics. No shouting. Just truth. Your Honor, I began, voice steady. I'd like to submit video and audio evidence regarding the trust and my father's intent. The judge nodded. Glasses sliding down his nose, lights dimming slightly in the courtroom. The video played. My father wrapped in that familiar blanket, mug in hand. Calm. Firm. I want Clara to have this place, he said. Camille makes things loud. Clara makes things last. She's the only one who came after the fall. The room was silent. You could hear every swallowed breath. Then came the audio. Camille's voice caught mid-conversation. Let her rot in her condo. She was never part of this family. Easier to control. The judge listened. Nodded. Tapped his pen. This court finds no grounds for the petition, he said. The evidence confirms clarity of mind and direct intention from the deceased. The language used by the plaintiff suggests exclusion, not misunderstanding. This court does not resolve emotional wounds. It enforces law. And in this case, the law is clear. Gavel down. Camille's fists clenched, jaw twitching, but she stayed seated. Mom blinked too fast, eyes glassy but dry. I gathered my folder and walked out. No words. No vindictive glance. Just quiet victory. Outside, reporters waited, microphones thrust forward. Half a question hung in the air. Do you have anything to say to your family? I paused just long enough. No, I said. I said it already. I just use quieter words. Back at the beach house, everything was exactly as it should be, empty, quiet, waiting. No suitcases, no chatter, no demands. Just the soft hum of the ocean, the gentle rattle of wine through the shutters. I moved slowly room by room, letting the silence tell me what remained. In the old office, I opened the bottom drawer of my father's desk. Inside, the wind chime we had strung together when I was 9. Seashells on fishing line, my childlike handwriting still faint on the largest shell. CW. I sat cross-legged and began untangling it. Not to make it perfect, just to honor what mattered. Later, Savannah arrived, bringing wine and paper towels. You didn't think I'd let you claim victory without cleaning windows, did you? She asked. We worked in quiet companionship, scrubbing away more than dust. Years of being ignored, erased, footnotes in someone else's story. At sunset, I hung the wind chime outside the kitchen window. The breeze caught it, and it danced like it remembered how to move. We didn't toast. We didn't celebrate. We simply sat, glasses in hand, watching the ocean breathe. They said I left, I told Savannah. But I never went anywhere. They just chose not to see me. And for the first time in a decade, I felt the weight lift. Some stories don't end with shouting. Some end quietly, with proof, with patience, with dignity. If this story stirred something deep inside you, something you've hidden, something you've been silenced from, know this: you are not alone. There are more of us than you think. People who didn't leave, who were simply never invited back. Comment below if you've ever been written out of your own story. Just a word. Let the silence break this time. Because sometimes reclaiming what's yours doesn't require fury. It requires remembering and showing up.